we must look at three stages or phases of the human drama: our origin, our history, and our destiny. Where have we been? Where are we now? And where are we headed? Going back to our origin, we discover God's original plan for the union of the sexes. When man and woman were both naked and felt no shame. The reason they were naked and felt no shame is because they lived sexual union as God created it to be. They lived their sexuality according to the image of God. They loved one another as Christ loves us. And what is the greatest commandment Jesus gives us? Love one another as I have loved you. They were naked without shame because they lived the perfect love of God. But we know that this experience of paradise did not last very long. We have inherited shame, which demonstrates that for us, it is a very difficult struggle to love in the image of God with our bodies. We do not understand the body as a theology any longer. Yet Christ calls us through the gift of redemption to overcome lust. Lust is a twisting, a disorder of the sexual appetite. And through the gift of redemption, there is real power flowing from Christ's death and resurrection to untwist what sin and lust has twisted. This is the good news with which we go into the world. We do not go into the world wagging a finger or condemning the world for its excesses. We go into the world demonstrating what the world is truly longing for. That these are distortions. This has become twisted. And the good news of the gospel is that Christ has untwisted this, and we can live a redeemed sexuality. We can learn gradually, not overnight, but progressively, by taking up our cross and following Christ, we can learn what it means to love. And this is not a theory to me. This is a lived experience. By God's grace alone, I can say that I have experienced and continue to experience this inner transformation of my sexuality. This transformation, however, will not be complete until the resurrection of our bodies, when we will be raised from the dead, male and female. Although, as Christ says, we will no longer enter marriage as we do here on earth. Why not? Remember the two bookends of the Scripture? When the marriage of the new Adam and Eve, Christ and the church, is consummated for all eternity, the foreshadowing will give way to the ultimate reality. We are destined to participate in that ultimate union. Now we can understand anew the vocation of celibacy and marriage. Here the Pope begins answering that question: how do we live our lives in a way that will bring true happiness? There are two fundamental Christian vocations: consecrated celibacy or the marital state. The consecrated celibate does not reject his sexuality. The consecrated celibate devotes all of his energies and desires for union onto the marriage that alone can satisfy. Remember the two bookends. As beautiful and wonderful as this union is of man and woman, it's only a glimmer. It's only a foreshadowing of something far greater, the union of Christ and the church. We need the celibate witness more than ever, authentically understood and authentically lived, because the celibate points us to that ultimate marriage. How many consecrated celibates do we have here in the audience? Can you stand? Stand up if you are a consecrated celibate. These men and these women revealed... stay standing. These men and these women, these consecrated celibates, revealed to the rest of the world and to us the ultimate purpose and meaning of our sexuality. We are destined for the marriage of Christ and the church. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now we have a new context for understanding marital union. Marital union only makes sense for the Christian if it is lived according to God's original plan, in anticipation of the ultimate marriage of Christ and the church. In my next presentation, I will be outlining in more detail Ephesians chapter 5 and what St. Paul means there by using the union of man and woman as an analogy for Christ and the church. But just briefly, I will say this. If the union of man and woman in one flesh is meant to image Christ's union with the church, here we have a new context for understanding Humanae Vitae. Christ said, I have come into the world so that my bride might have life and have it to the full. Theology of the body. This means that God's mystery is revealed in and through our bodies. Yes, in and through our fertility. God's love is life-giving. God's love generates. It is generous. This is why God gave us genitals, so we could image His generous, generating love. To render the union sterile is to say, I do not want to image God. I do not want to love my spouse as Christ loves the church. According to the spousal analogy, the husband images Christ. The wife images the church. So the language of the sexual embrace on the part of the husband must be, as my father-in-law understood, this is my body given up for you. The language of the sexual embrace from the wife must be according to the model of the church. Let it be done to me according to your word. But if you insert contraception into this language, we have a very different language. The husband now says, this is my body not given up for you. The wife now says, let it not be done to me according to your word. This becomes a contradiction, a speaking against of the very heart of the divine mystery meant to be proclaimed and revealed through the body. Indeed, the Pope goes so far as to say that the human body and the sexual embrace is prophetic. What is a prophet? A prophet is one who proclaims the mystery of God. And yet the Pope adds this: we must be very careful to distinguish between true and false prophets. Because if we can speak the truth with our bodies, we can also speak lies with our bodies. And if we choose to lie with our bodies, then we are contradicting the very value and meaning of our humanity itself, created male and female in the image and likeness of God. This is the new context that the Holy Father provides us for understanding Humanae Vitae. Thank you very much.